So I had a comment today, like one of my Facebook friends saw me commenting on some picture that was posted in his mudflat advanced research group, and she said, "Why you just keep talking about this mudflat? Everybody knows the Earth was buried and stuff like this. The planet was buried. Just talk, just talk about the short people. We are the short people. We are descendants of short people, and not the giants, our ancestors. We are the short people." So I decided, well, I told her the Earth is not a planet; it's just an Earth. Let's call it Earth, right? Because it's called Earth.
And if she's Christian, it's the dry land.
Yeah. We have the same stuff, right? Soil, earth is all the same stuff.
Right.
So whatever, we just let it call it earth or plane,
Right.
whatever. So I told her, you can see planets in planetarium, but if you want me to talk about shorties, let's talk about the shorties. So I had this article from this one guy I follow about the shorties. Let me just show it to you. So he comes up with this idea that the medieval people were shorties. So he has all these artifacts which are actually beds, right? And so he measured in the left one is like 5 feet,
Okay.
and the right one is like almost 6 feet. So it's like not very big for our size people, right?
Right.
Also, he has a bunch of example of all those short beds from the Ludovic the 15, which is like French king. Also, he has like these Russian short beds, and also here, and these also famous pictures of English beds where you can see a bunch of people in these boxes that used to be beds for people, and they are like very small, and you can even stretch your legs there because it's like couple like 4 to 5 feet maximum. So with our size of person, you probably won't be able to fit there, only sit, not even
Right.
lay. So the idea is that we have some evidence that there were shorties, and I've been talking about it, and also he brings up with this information of the Piranesi pictures, the famous Italian painter, which we also observe in mudflat. And so he has all those pictures with short people, and he manages to find the same artifacts, the same architectural, like fontaine here on the right. It's the same that fontaine here on the left, but the size of the people is actually a lot smaller than he managed to find today, right?
Like now, what do you mean then in size a lot smaller? We're
Like
talking what?
in comparison to what those people look in front of this fountain, he manages that they're supposed to be like half size of an ordinary man, because look at his like. Can you see this red thing marker here and the
Yes.
arrow? The same is here. So the people are bigger and taller than the fountain, right over here.
Right.
And here they are barely like half size of a fountain. Can you see it?
Right. I see it. I definitely
Yeah,
see it.
I'm gonna be putting those pictures in when I edit. Also, let's see another picture. Also, the same place. The size of the people is barely the size of this fence, but the modern people are twice as large, modern men, and twice as large as this fence. So also the same place, the same statues here. Uh, we've been also reviewing these statues because they have shorties and the giant people depicting it there. So also he found this place, also people twice as large as the fence here on the right, and on the left we see people are as tall as the fence. How do you call this? Barrier or fence? Whatever.
Right. Ramp.
Yeah.
Yeah, more like a ramp.
Also over here we see small people, but this resolution is very low, but you can see the small people on the floor, and the people here are a lot taller. Okay,
Yeah.
And this small armor that he found also for the short people, very short people.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Because
And
because you know I was thinking more like doll houses, man. Like we like I mean like today, and there's really good doll houses out there. And if you look and do some research, it's amazing that what we could do. So if we're doing doll houses now, who's to say that the Giants? I mean, did the same thing too. Had
yeah,
doll houses or built houses for the small humanoids.
yeah.
Interesting.
But the idea is that there was an invasion of those short people. We call them kарлiki. Uh, So I kind of correlate with this idea because Karl is one of the most popular names from the kings. So it's like a blue blood name, Karl. In Russian, Karlik is like a shorty. So we also have connection from the Crow and Ray Bradbury series that I have. They also talk about the Karl there, and so it's like it could be connected to this invasion. Why not? Because we probably some sort of people could be invading this world, and so why not? It would be like short people. Who knows? Because
Right.
the giants are all massacred right now, so we don't have any giants anymore. But we have short people, and we have smaller sized people as a regular size, right?
Right.
So this is the idea that he has. And another thing, everybody is trying to praise or whatever, how do you call it, favor those blocks in Peru. And so he found a bunch of those blocks in Japan and Peru with this, how do you call it? We call it brak. Brak is like failed job, right? When
Okay.
you see the perfect blocks over here, and you see one or two blocks with these failures,
Right.
a fallacy, whatever you call it.
Right. You know what? Can you go back to that for a second?
Yep.
Wise Up made a great suggestion when he was talking about these same exact blocks one time.
Hmm.
He said he thinks that from examining this, and he actually, I think he went to this site as well. He said the outside part, these look like these were made with sandbags.
Yeah. It's my idea. I told him to do that. It's like
Uh,
I made the first video on that, and then he copied it from me. So it's like it's called how do you call it? Um, I've been watching a video even today about it. It's like
you
you
can make
you do a dredging or whatever. It's like
right. You put the
mud.
sand
Yeah, yeah,
right
and you put it in in those
in the bag,
in sandbags.
sandbags, and you build walls with them. And look at the size of this guy comparison to those big bags made by giants.
Yeah.
Okay, and if you let it sit there long enough, and if there's a deluge, then that's going to turn into rock.
Oh, well, this technology is called hydro something. Dehydration. It's like when you dehydrate, it means you lose out all the water and keep all these, solid stuff in the sand, in the sandbag, and then the sandbag is dissolving because it's like designed to be dissolved in a couple of years, and it totally disappears, and you have all those perfect blocks sticking to each other like this, right? And they have all crazy forms, and they might have even those little nipples or you know titties, whatever you call it, because you can put a vibrator inside and also manage this solution to become more solid when it's yet wet. It's not yet dry enough. So
Right,
it's like when you do the concrete forming in nowadays, we also use vibrators and all this stuff. So he had all these blocks here in this article. I'm gonna also put up with this fallacy on forming damage, which shows us that they didn't have enough, also didn't have enough quality. It's not like they were perfect each and every time, but they also had fallacies there. So probably is just a concrete. It's not a cut from a rock or something, because some people still stand on the position that it was cut from a rock. But we see cracks here and So in all these marks that lead us to thinking that it was just not a perfect job and it was made of concrete.
Right.
So all those marks just remind me just the regular screw ups on the construction sites that we have today. Can you see them?
Yes, I can. Yes, I can.
But sometimes you can even
Oh,
put the credit card inside, but
yeah, amazing.
you still have those examples with the fallacy. And also
Amazing.
the mud volcanoes. People trying to ask me about those mud volcanoes. So it's like one guy, also 1 hour subscriber, Dmitry Babaitov, I think his last name is. He has his channel, and he's also talking about the reason, the cause of a mud flood,
Okay.
and he thinks it's a some type of ash or dust with these little fine particles that combined into the atmosphere and fell with the water and the moisture. So it could be like even like a clay or mud falling from the sky. But we
No
see
shit.
more simple explanation because we don't
Yeah.
see this mud falling from the sky in like recent 20, 30 years. Nowhere we can see them, but we can see the mud volcanoes each and every year coming out like in totally looking like this, like what we see on the streets. People say it's all gray when it's coming out, but I say when it's like oxidizing, it's becoming more reddish and more yellow. From
Yes.
it's like the opposite when you do the cement. You also like use the same stuff, but you heat it up and it becomes more gray. But if you leave the stuff alone, I mean the stuff from the volcano, it becomes more reddish and more yellow and more clay-like. So because it oxidizes with the oxygen, right?
Right.
So it's like iron also oxidizes to be more red and more yellow with this rust stuff. So it's the same type of because all this mud is coming out from underneath where we have a bunch of metal solutions like nickel, iron, aluminum, and all this stuff. So iron leads us to be more reddish and more yellow with the solution. So this could also possibly be the reason, the main reason that I suppose right now is the mud volcanoes, because they even see this stuff from the streets. So like in Mexico, we see this stuff boiling right in the middle of the street. So it's like out of nowhere, like we have this mud volcano on the street. Like we can have it in our cities, just we don't know about it because we just not observing this as much as we could to figure this out. So it's like not much years passed. But a bunch of mud volcanoes all around the Europe, all around America, all around Asia. And this article is about is causing is it's about the earthquake of 1797, and it says like there was a crack and there was a bunch of water inside in this valley. So it's about like 1,000 feet wide and 600 feet deep. So all this water went to this crack, and immediately it was like a volcano splash outside, and so it looks like a geyser with this mud and the rainwater with the mud. So it's like describe. It was close to what they see on the Etna volcano in Italy, or close to what we see in the volcano of Catalunya in Iceland. So this is how it goes, and they also follow the heliocentric model and the planetary model of this Earth, but they show in this as the graphics what the underneath seas and oceans look like. So if
Is that a ball? Are we
they
looking at
show
a
it,
ball?
they show it as a ball because they believe in a planetary paradigm. So, but anyways, we can use this as example of how the
Gotcha.
water it could be transferred from one part of the plane to another part of the plane due to the pressure, due to the heat, due to the some uh, who knows, maybe some pumps working there, as you can say, as a construct, or boiling room there. So the water could be pumped to any place, any time, with the high speed and high pressure, and come up like in the middle of like New York City or Boston or Moscow, right? And this is how they show it on this, uh, so it's like the ocean, it's like this water coming out, and here we have the heat, and we have the splash of this stuff. So it's like they trying to prove it with this current model of this planet. So
Mm.
if we have a geologist in our company of mud flooders, we probably figure this out and make our own graphics on the plane, right? But it's possible, and the officials totally agree with this mud volcano stuff, that it's really existing, because they observe this stuff everywhere. So it's like I think we could use this their knowledge to prove that that could be some type of mud volcanoes that could be set up in each and every city.
Mm.
Knowing that the people were mining a lot and have all those drill holes everywhere, and they had all those cemented locks and stuff, so they won't be blowing up. So a couple of 100 years, all this cement is melting, cracking, so all this stuff could come up easily with the high pressure and just break out, or it could be damaged by somebody intentionally. I'm not talking about dredging and flooding and all those dam stuff. We're gonna be talking about it pretty much soon when when I have more material. So,
Absolutely.
it's also very possible thing. So what do you think about it?
That's interesting. I'm not. I can't buy the mud coming from the sky. I'm not saying, because look, I'm not saying that it can't happen. Just can't, because it would. I don't know. Maybe it came from the sky and then it flowed. I don't know. I'm still thinking it came from the ground itself. I don't think that this mud is magical, man. And when I
Yeah,
mean magical, it's scientifically unexplainable. Where every once in a while, when whoever made this place, the Heavenly Father, the Most High, the Almighty, whenever He wants to reset this place or whatever, or change, it's sort of like just shakes it, puts everything in the mud, because mud just turns everything back into what it is. Like everything. Even some of the most important things come from dirt that we need to survive, like B12. It's just like it's just amazing. It's something I can't explain. Everything that we need to eat, that is has all the nutrients, is come from the ground. It's mind blowing, how much that it's so much evidence to suggest that we belong to this place, and this place was made for us, and we've been taught all our life that we're like alien from this place, and some aliens, you know, came down from outer space, from a different planet, and seeded this country, and we're not really from here.
yeah.